Welcome to Beat by Beat, where your favorite games are reborn as immersive audio adventures. Today, a rookie infiltrates Outer Heaven. No backup, just the mission. This is Metal Gear Retold.
They said we couldn't risk a full unit, so we sent one man. No gear, no map. Just a transceiver, a tide chart, and a mission we couldn't admit we approved. I was still vice commander then, reporting to Big Boss, relaying decisions I didn't make. Operation Intrude N313. The orders were precise. Infiltrate Outer Heaven. Rescue Gray Fox. Determine what had gone dark inside the fortress. Bring back intelligence. We inserted him under cover of night, through the river. It wasn't a high-altitude drop, or any kind of covert op they teach in academies. He moved through knee-high current, under the eye of an overcast moon, crawling beneath floodlight beams and the crackle of exposed wire fencing. He didn't look back. The only thing louder than the water was the silence that followed. He reached the outer perimeter by 1200 hours, boots muddy, uniform soaked, and he never said a word. But the transceiver did.
This is Big Boss. Commence Operation Intrude N313.
Acknowledged.
That was it. No follow-up, no briefing. Just a one-word reply, and then the line went quiet. He entered through the southeast access to Building 1. Cameras patrolled the walls in slow sweeps. Their arcs overlapped in tight windows, leaving only a second or two to move. Snake moved in one. The hallways were still, metal on concrete, air vents whirring low. A couple guards posted on shift rotation, but nothing he couldn't slip past. He stayed out of sight. No alerts, no shots fired. He passed a sealed storeroom, then moved into the northeast sector, where a locked cell was tucked behind a 2-point security pass. Inside sat the first prisoner, alert, weak.
Gray Fox is still alive. He was captured.
That was the first time we'd heard confirmation. Until then, it had just been hope. Snake didn't linger. He checked the room. In a guard locker in the corner, he located a small plastic keycard, Card 1, likely pulled from a dead patrolman and forgotten in the scramble. It unlocked the central elevator near the first-floor access shaft. The elevator didn't go up. It dropped. No blueprints marked a sub-level in Building 1, no floor plan, no assigned guards, no power grid routing. But Snake descended without hesitation. The elevator doors slid open to darkness. One hallway. No ambient lighting, no motion triggers. The place had been built for containment. He stepped through. The first few rooms were sealed. Card 1 gave him access to 3 cells, a supply rack, and a long horizontal corridor lined with wire mesh and outdated insulation. We later learned the basement had been part of an original mining facility, repurposed, rewired, sealed for reasons no one at HQ could explain. He moved quickly. In a locked chamber off the southeast wing, Snake located a second POW.
They are developing a new type of weapon. They forced Dr. Petrovich to work on it.
There was no code name, no specs, just a whispered reference to a weapon, and the first mention of a scientist we hadn't heard about since the Cold War. Dr. Petrovich. The old intel files listed him as an Eastern Bloc cybernetics researcher. Gone underground sometime after '93. Not dead, just missing. Now he was working here. Snake pressed deeper, past inactive terminals, through 2 security doors running on intermittent power. Somewhere along the way, he picked up a pack of rations and a spare magazine from a neglected crate. None of it was marked. No one left instructions. But Snake seemed to know what he needed. Another cell, another voice.
Fox is alive.
The man could barely speak. Thin, dry-throated. But he managed the words with enough force to lodge them in Snake's report, and in my memory. That second confirmation told us what the command structure refused to admit. Gray Fox hadn't failed. He'd been captured. The elevator ride back to ground level was uneventful. Snake didn't radio in, didn't report his findings. That wasn't the kind of operator he was. He moved as though everything he needed to know was already known. 2 more rooms were swept, before contact cut again. Transceiver signal degraded from within the concrete shaft structure. I tracked him until his position disappeared from the motion logs. At first I thought he'd been caught, but no alerts sounded. No enemy shift movements changed, and then, quietly, the comms line pinged once, unauthenticated. Just before midnight, the elevator returned to the first floor. Empty. I pulled Snake's activity log after the fact, studied it in full. He avoided 9 patrols, disarmed 1 tripwire, collected 0 kills, bypassed every camera with perfect timing. He took 1 ration and never used it, passed 2 locked doors, didn't bother trying to force them. He just waited for the right route to emerge. He hadn't left a trail, not even for us. And when the final playback of his infrared trace disappeared from the monitors, I remember staring at the screen longer than I should have. It didn't feel like we'd lost him. It felt like he'd made a choice, to go silent, to become something else inside those walls, something no longer working for us. Hours later, a static burst pinged from the lower east quadrant of Building 1. No voices, no signals, just movement. The guards never found the source. The cameras never picked it up. But I knew he was still in, still watching, still listening. The mission had started. But Snake had already gone deeper than Command ever expected.
Thanks for listening to Beat by Beat. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review and share it with a fellow adventurer. New episodes drop weekly. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and join us as we bring more epic quests to life, one beat at a time.